The night sky above Munich felt heavy with destiny as the floodlights of the Allianz Arena carved through the darkness like blades. The air trembled with anticipation. Paris Saint Germain had walked this road many times before, but never reached its end. Their past was littered with heartbreak and collapse. Yet on this night, their players moved across the pitch with a calm fire in their eyes. Inter Milan waited on the opposite half, seasoned warriors of European nights, unaware that they were moments away from witnessing a storm. Before the world could blink, PSG unleashed a performance that would echo through football history. 5 goals, no mercy. A masterpiece of youth, precision, and hunger. On this night, Paris finally took its crown. Welcome to MatchMystic, where football becomes cinema and every moment is a story carved in emotion, ambition, and destiny. Tonight we explore the night Paris Saint Germain rose from a decade of doubt and became kings of Europe in the most dominant Champions League final ever played. Paris Saint Germain's dominant victory did not happen by accident. It came at the end of a turbulent journey filled with doubt, reinvention, and the quiet, burning desire to silence the world. Their Champions League past was stained with collapses in Barcelona, heartbreaks against Manchester United, shock exits against underdogs, and the never-ending criticism that money could not buy mentality. Their star eras came and went. Their Galactico squads glittered and faded. But under Luis Enrique, the club transformed from a constellation of individuals into a single, unstoppable force. This transformation was clearest in the young heartbeat of the team. Désiré Doué, barely 19, stepped into the midfield with the confidence of a seasoned general. His movement was fluid, his decisions calm, and on this night, he looked like he had been waiting for this stage since birth. The first goal came from a wave of pressure that broke Inter's shape apart. Hakimi surged forward and finished a sweeping move set in motion by Doué's delicate touch. It was a strike that cracked open Inter's armor and flooded the stadium with disbelief and awe. Minutes later, Doué placed his own mark on the final. A strike driven with perfect precision, a moment where all the noise faded and only the ball's path mattered. It deflected just enough to send Summer the wrong way and send Paris deeper into a dream. The Paris bench exploded. The fans felt something they had never felt before in a final. Control, calm, destiny. In the second half, PSG played like a team possessed by clarity. Their passes cut through Inter's midfield like threads of lightning. Their pressing suffocated the Italian side's attempts to breathe. Inter tried to reset the tempo with long spells of possession, but each time they pushed forward, they were met by a Paris collective that refused to break. And Doué struck again. A clean, right-footed finish into the bottom corner that sent shockwaves through European football. A teenager was running the Champions League final as if he owned it. Kvaratskhelia added the fourth with a curling strike that felt like art painted across the sky. His movement down the flank was graceful, his finish unanswerable. The fifth goal arrived through the feet of another teenager, Mayulu, who stepped onto the pitch with fresh legs and unfiltered ambition. Within moments, he found himself at the end of a flowing Paris attack and drilled the finish home to seal the most astonishing final scoreline the Champions League had ever seen. Behind this performance stood Luis Enrique, a man who had carried years of pressure and personal grief into the season. He chose unity over stardom. He chose structure over chaos. He chose to trust teenagers in the biggest match on earth. And on this night, his vision became reality. His journey from doubt to triumph intertwined with the story of a team reborn. Across Paris, fans celebrated with tears, fireworks, and chants that echoed through the night. It was a celebration decades in the making, held up by old memories of failure and the new promise of invincibility. The city roared with joy, but the emotion ran deeper. It was relief. It was redemption. It was the realization that after so many years of ridicule and collapse, Paris had earned its respect. Inter Milan stood on the opposite side of history, stunned by the storm they had just faced. Their veterans looked drained, their younger players shaken. Tactically, their compact structure crumbled under Paris's relentless speed and fluidity. Their attempts to build slow attacks were repeatedly crushed by Paris's pressing traps. They arrived with hope, but left with questions. Their fans knew they had reached the final through resilience and intelligence, but the gulf in this match was undeniable. In the build-up to this final, the form of both teams had pointed toward drama. Paris walked into the match with the confidence of champions. Their recent performances were waves of victories shaped by fluid midfield play and sharpened counterattacks. Inter arrived with a mix of resilience and unpredictability, alternating moments of brilliance with moments of vulnerability. Their journey had been a roller coaster, but against Paris, their rhythm dissolved. The emotion of the night extended beyond tactics. For Paris's young stars, this was a coming of age. For their veterans, it was the reward for years of service. For their fans, it was closure to scars carved long ago. And for European football, it was a reminder that dominance can rise from unexpected places, from teenagers fearless enough to rewrite the script. As the dust settled, analysts debated what this victory meant for the future. Would Paris become the new European powerhouse for the decade ahead? Would their blend of youth and experience inspire a new era of Champions League football? Would other wealthy clubs follow this model of investing in young talent rather than assembling superstar superteams? And how would Inter rise from the ashes of such a final? The future is uncertain. Paris may be on the verge of a dynasty, or this could be the peak before the next great challenge. Inter may rebuild or fracture. The Champions League may enter a new era, driven by the fearless generation that Paris unveiled on this night. But one thing is certain. Munich witnessed the coronation of a new European emperor. Paris Saint Germain did not just win the Champions League. They conquered it with a performance that felt like destiny fulfilling itself under the floodlights. Return to MatchMystic for the next chapter of football's cinematic journey. There are more stories waiting to be told, more nights waiting to become legends, and more destinies waiting to unfold under the spotlight. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more.